That is not doing me. Okay, hi guys. Welcome to computer science. Good. Welcome to computer science. So, really, this course is called computer science. Also, you can think of it as computer programming, also known as development. So this is a part of IT. IT can be split basically into technical and development, whereby technical, I am a technician, so I am a school technician. Technical examples of jobs that, and it's a gray area really. It's a rough separation or categorization of these two categories of IT jobs. To say that, part of the jobs in IT are technical in nature, and part of the certifications or study paths are technical, and the other part are development. It's not entirely accurate, but it's a useful separation, both as a job seeker and as a student. Now, the ICT course, that is mostly technical. It's dealing with hardware and networks, operating systems, but it has some elements of development. The data analysis, the databases, and the web development are you could categorize that as development. So when I think of development, what often what helps me is I think of engineering, I think of building something. Technical is often about fixing something, but that is also not necessarily accurate, because you get people in the technical field who, for example, would have engineered this school, the cabling, the routers, the switches, everything, the camera placements, web phones, and they do that on a much larger scale. Technical work can get extremely complicated and extremely advanced, but it normally does involve environments. Some examples of technical work would be a computer technician, someone who is repairing. It's a very common first job that you would be a technician, a techie. Very common first job. You would be the person they would ask. My power is not working. I can't log in. I don't have network. I don't have internet. You're a technician. You know about hardware. You know something about networks and about Windows operating system. You know a lot about Windows. You know about fixing things. You know about, for example, fixing a blue screen of death. You know about IP addresses and fixing network problems. You can swap out RAM. You can use a Windows recovery disk. That's kind of the most junior technical positions, like help desk support or technician. Sure, could you not wait? Right. And it starts there, and it would go to network administrator, I'm kind of a technician here and an administrator, because the administrator is the guy who would take care of an environment, possibly an office or a shop. So you'll fix problems, help people, answer questions, repair things, but you'll also administer or administrate, in other words, care for the entire, the IT of the entire environment. Another example would be a web server administrator or a database server administrator, or network administrator in different environments. And there are others as well. You would also have networking specialists, networking engineers, so maybe laptop technicians. There's a wide variety, and technicians do also program, but not much. They would do some scripting, possibly on servers, just typing out some commands, maybe quite complex commands. They would definitely know a lot about security. A big part of being an administrator is security, whether it's in its various forms. So that's technician, and it's a great one for employment. There are a lot of jobs out there for people who are maybe A+ qualified or working towards A+ seriously, or A+ and Net+, internships and other jobs as help desk support or junior technician. And I'm qualified in that. Now, development, the entry-level jobs for that would be web developer. So probably something like a WordPress web developer, where you would be expected to know HTML, CSS, WordPress, and possibly JavaScript, PHP, maybe some SQL also. Other types of development jobs you could maybe start off with would be in data. For example, a data analysis. There you could just be on Excel. So besides that, the type of jobs that you would get in development, if you had gone to university and gotten a computer science degree, then you might just get a job as an application developer, or somewhere in software development. But without a university degree, the most kind of entry-level common job for a programmer would be a junior-level, intern-level web developer. And there's also search engine optimization, which is a related field, kind of a crossover between marketing and development. But some people would say that's just marketing, but it definitely is quite IT intensive. So now this computer science course, what we're going to learn here will benefit you for technical, absolutely no question. We're going to be learning about security and a lot of technical concepts. And bearing in mind that, you can't, in my view, you shouldn't just learn development or just technical. They are very related. And I don't really think we can be a developer without knowing the technical. You can be technical without knowing all the development. Yeah, I would say that, but you shouldn't try and be a developer without understanding technical. At least the basics of technical, which is a lot. It's a hell of a lot. Heck of a lot, sorry. Yeah, so in this computer science course, we're going to be covering various technical things like some security, the way that a CPU and a computer is architected, that's useful for technical and development. We're going to be covering the fundamentals of programming, and you guys have done HTML already and CSS, and you have then SQL, the database language. But in this course, we're going to be learning about object-oriented programming. We're going to specifically be learning Python, but Python is a type of language what I call fully fledged, object-oriented, multi-purpose, general-purpose programming language, and what you learn in Python can be applied to Java, JavaScript, PHP, C#, C++, languages of that type. You also need to know HTML and CSS, and you also need to know databases with SQL. We've also done, Excel programming with the graphs and the BI, and you've done database, and you've done WordPress, and you might have done some database business intelligence. That stuff is not necessarily applicable to Python programming, but definitely HTML and CSS is, and SQL and databases. They work together. So we understand where HTML and CSS fit in. They are front-end web development technologies. Really, you need to know them. Whether if you're doing anything in programming, you should know those languages. And even just as a designer, you need to know HTML and CSS. Databases are very much both technical and development. And in fact, in development, you can really specialize in databases, in data analysis, machine learning. Or if you are making websites and other applications, they will have databases. So my question then is, where does Python fit in the real world? Where will you get a job with Python? Because I've spoken about where you'll get a job with the networking, the hardware, and security, images, design, the HTML, CSS, the WordPress, databases I spoke about, data analysis, an analyst, database administrator. Although that helps with programming as well. What does a Python programmer do in his daily life? Well, there are two main fields that I know of where you would get a job as a Python programmer, and it is a general purpose language, so there are also others. But in terms of the jobs advertised today, it would either be in web application development, whereby Python is your back-end, server-side application language that's interfacing with your database on the one side and your front-end application, your HTML, CSS, JavaScript on the other. And there Python could be substituted with PHP, or which is more popular. It's more popular today because of WordPress, or C# and ASP.NET, or Java, or Ruby. But Python is an excellent one to learn, and you can switch over to PHP or whatever if necessary. And then the other place is in data analysis and data science, or machine learning, which is certainly a growing field, but that's not the type of job you can walk into. That you would want to study further, and we touched on that definitely with data analysis and the database programming. That is also really important. But you could maybe get an internship in data science if you really, made a big effort. But generally speaking, data science is something you study at university. Although you could, for an example, take a Microsoft route. Microsoft has a data science MCSA, whereby you might start off with, I would hope with an A plus, but you might get an MTA, Microsoft Technology Associate in Database Fundamentals, and then an MCSA, a Microsoft Certified Solutions Associate in data science, where you would learn SQL, you'd learn relational database management systems, specifically Microsoft's implementation, which is a popular one, it's a good one to learn. And you'd learn data analysis and statistics. And that's all about automating things and artificial intelligence, and it's really topical, it's well paid, it's really in demand, it's really cool. Yeah, and there are other similar fields to do that. Definitely something I want to learn. I'd love to get that MCSA in data science. At the moment, the MCSA actually is using SQL and Microsoft Azure, and it's using a language called R. Data science, from what I can tell, at the moment it's generally done using either R or Python. Although there are other ways to do it. We do also use SQL. The Microsoft one is using R, not Python. But Python is one of the two most popular data science languages. This is my point. It's a really popular one for data science. And there's a lot of jobs in data science. They're not easy to get. It's a lot of work, but it's a huge field for the future. It's a huge employer for a lot of money. It also involves stats, involves maths, computer science. It's kind of like the interaction between those, or the intersection between those, and then also your specific domain. The other very popular place, and these jobs are much easier to get, but still a lot of work, is web development, whereby Python is a back-end server-side programming language. So you might have heard of the term full-stack web developer or back-end web developer. Full-stack meaning front and back. So that's what I'm gonna, that's gonna be the practical context. Yes, we're going to talk about fundamentals like, that you'll find in all, proper programming languages. Stuff like variables and control of flow, and functions. That's really universal across all programming languages. That won't get you a job. And that's also not going to give you context of why this is important. Where would I be using it to get a job? For our practicals, for the programming specifically, we will be doing just some, basic example applications. That kind of stuff won't get you a job because, believe it or not, I'm sure this is obvious, people don't hire you to do little Mickey Mouse tutorial programs, right? They don't. You can go to Gumtree, go to Biz Community, or Indeed or whatever, and look for jobs. There's no sort of, can you do a Python tutorial, make a little calculator. There are no jobs like that, not even one. Although that would help, it's a step. But the jobs that are a data scientist or a web developer, that's not to say that there's not scope for games, or that there's not scope for a multitude of other, software careers. There are. But the context we're going to be taking it from, which is a very practical, career-orientated. Remember, just because your first job is a web developer, some people will be a web developer their whole life and earn a heck of a lot of money. Doesn't mean you're stuck being a web developer. A web developer is a great place to start programming. It is a great place to start as an engineer because it is relatively easy to understand. I mean, not easy, but compared to other jobs, it's easy because it's very visual. Just because you're a web developer, for 5 years, doesn't mean you're always going to be a web developer. But there are a lot of jobs in web development, and it's a great first step. And it's also a great example of how an application works. For me personally, someone who has spent a lot of time studying programming and who has really struggled, who has gotten lost a hell of a lot, who has tried and tried and tried Java and then just gave up on Java for a hell of a long time, tried JavaScript and couldn't get it. There's the expression, you can't run before you can walk. That is what we try and do, I think, often. We think we should be able to make that great game like tomorrow, in a year, whatever. Or our first job, we should be, doing this, our dream, making a game, or I don't know, some amazing app. What I'm saying is that it's better to achieve something small and build on it, in computer science and in IT. Maybe in life. Achieve something small and build on it, rather than have this high goal that you never get to. Because that's not realistic. It's not realistic for me. It might be for you, but not for me. For me, I need to go from here to here. From here, I can go to here. Doesn't mean I don't want to get there. But I have learned that to try and get there in one step doesn't work for me because I get lost. I actually get lost. And actually that's normal. So I'm saying if you can go and build a web app, functioning web app, you've got your HTML, CSS, and maybe JavaScript on the front end, you've got a database, and you've got a Python application on your back end, and it's functional, and you can show that to an employer, it's a good chance you'll get a job. It's a decent app. And then you've made a program. You've made a program that's functional, and also sort of in terms of application development, in terms of teaching application development in a practical, real world way, or a theoretical way, it ticks the boxes for me. It's got a front end, it's got a graphical user interface, it's got a database on the back end, and it's going to perform some sort of function. But we are also going to discuss data science and do a data science practice. Anyway, that's just to sum up the kind of angle we're taking with this computer science course. I want you guys to leave at the end of the year not just with having done an exam and gotten that, which will be useful to you, definitely, and being able to tell an employer that, or tertiary education. That will definitely be useful. And yes, this will definitely build upon your technical knowledge. But I want you guys to leave here not just with the fundamentals of programming. I want you guys to leave here with a portfolio of practical skills, with having built things that are useful in the real world and will get you employment.